Welcome to Bitboard Crypto, the people's channel, the largest crypto community in all the interwebs. No channel works harder to keep you in the know. This is Around the Blockchain. My name is DZ. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about your favorite topics with your favorite guests. Today is no exception. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. On the top right, one of my favorite people on the West Coast, we have Crypto Stache, with still one of the coolest backgrounds ever. Then our first live from nature, he said, I've had enough of the metaverse. It's Justin O. Check out his account, a couple cents. Then on the bottom left, we have coming live, no joke, live from Ukraine. Don't worry, he's not like out in the fields as a field reporter. Live, Nicu, definitely check him out. We always love having him on. And then on the top left, we have Rice holding it down with the Brick Squad, fighting for freedom. Even if you don't want him to, he's still fighting for you. But today's going to be a great episode. We're talking about the dumps, the crazy dumps happening, and then all the crazy liquidations. Is the bleeding going to be over? Then we have crypto hitting Wall Street. How's Wall Street going to react? And a topic I'm really looking forward to, death row NFTs. Big old school West Coast rap fan from the 90s. So I love some Snoop, and hopefully you do too. But let's get right into it. But before we get into that, you know what time it is, right? You know what we're going to get right into. We're going to get right into the market watch. Even on a bad day today, we still have to see what is going on in these markets. We have Bitcoin barely holding on to that $40,000 level. I mean, it is just a hair's breadth away. If we refresh, I mean, I'm almost scared to see what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, it's holding on. It's holding on for dear life. We have Ethereum at 2788, but we're holding on to that 4,000 level. I do like what we're seeing. Nicu, it's getting a little scary out here. I mean, is this 4,000 looking strong? Is it looking weak? I mean, are we about to go to 33 again? I mean, what's the market's telling you?
Well, the markets have been telling me the same thing for a very long time, and I until now have not been wrong. And I'm seeing 30, and subsequently I am seeing 20. Now, that may not be on short term, but that is definitely where I am putting my money.
All right. Yeah, it's looking scary. And because of that, we had, I think, $300 million worth of liquidations as it plunged down to about 40,000. Most everything is in the red zone. It seems like maybe this relief rally is coming to a halt. A lot of the assets basically across the board has lost about 5 to 7% over the last couple of days. And this plunge is, definitely brought on by the Bitcoin, just dragging down the rest of the market here. Now, Rice, I want to kind of bring it to you here because, you always have these good macro perspectives. What do you think the number one thing is dragging Bitcoin down? Is it this world economic news? Is it, the cycle playing out? What's the number one, determiner for, the market's just being dragged?
I would say that it's kind of a little bit of everything that's happening geopolitically. I mean, we have a lot of things happening to the north of us in Canada. We have things happening in the European area regarding Russia and Ukraine. We also have a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the Federal Reserve and rate hikes when it comes to their taper tantrum. There's also a lot of uncertainty when it comes to Biden and the executive order. So there's a lot of things kind of coming into play. It's almost as if when you combine what's happening on an economic climate and then the social unrest and everything else happening around the world, it's a perfect storm. And with that being said, it's really an uncertain territory that we're in. We're going to be experiencing a lot of volatility, in my opinion. And that's not to really try to scare anybody because, I really try to tell people I'm in this for the long term and I zoom out, especially when we're having these short-term moments where we're seeing dips in prices and we're seeing the price crash or the price drop down significantly, which we're talking like 5-6% today over the past 24 hours, which, again, with everything that's going on, all the unexpectancy of what's going to be happening. I'm actually looking forward to getting some insight from Nicu about what's going on in Ukraine, because before we started live streaming, he had mentioned the fact that a lot of people in Ukraine aren't even aware of what's being reported all over the mainstream news. And I've talked in the past about our Ministry of Propaganda, our mainstream news, just sensationalizing things so that they can continue to get those views, the ratings. And it's really sickening when you look at what's happening. But at the same time, there's a big power shift happening, with what's going on with Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and GoFundMe. governments wanting to try to seize funds, which they can only do on a custody level. Obviously, if you possess your private keys, they can't take your crypto. So that's the power of decentralized cryptocurrencies and this perfect storm that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to Nicu towards the end. I definitely want to hear his take on what is going on. But, Stache, let's game theory this out a little bit. Let's pretend, let's assume Nico's right. We are going to see a pullback to 30, and we are going to see a pullback to 20. I don't think we'll go that low, but let's just game theory it out. Let's say it is going to happen. What would you do to, kind of hedge your bets? Is a play to earn, a possible avenue you can do if you just got to stay in crypto? You don't want to sit on Tether for 12 months or just, buy Tether. You don't want DCA Tether. Is there like a angle you could do with play to earn? Is this an opportunity for play to earn since prices are suppressed?
So when it comes to price action like this, I kind of agree. I don't think we're going to see below the 30,000 level. I talked about this before. Everyone was on the last major dip when we were kind of heading down. Everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's at 30. We're going to go sub 30,000." I don't think it's going to happen. I really think that we're going to maintain somewhere around there. It may dip slightly below. Do I think that play to earn is a replacement for any strategy? It definitely is not. Playing to earn is not about like making a boatload of money. It's about just being able to earn a little extra cheddar on the side for doing something you already wanted to do anyways, something you were already doing. So it's definitely not a solution that I would say is like, oh, this is going to make you a ton of money in the bear market is playing to earn. But it's one of those things, strategies you could add. If you like playing games, that's what I would say. If you don't like it, then I would look at, other things like staking as a really great way to do that in this interim. Taking your funds instead of, trying to sell them or whatnot, having to manage something in this crazy chop that we're seeing with, these big swings right now, and people not really sure where it's going to go. We're at a point where we're not really sure. It's like, are we, just getting ready for another launch pad to the moon, or are we going to drop down to that 30,000 level or even lower? It's just been very choppy out there. So, I think that having a safe play is okay. Doing things like DCAing into a major coin is always a good idea, no matter what's going on in the markets. That's one of my opinions. But yeah, adding things like play to earn, if you enjoy that, or looking at platforms where you can stake and earn a percentage on your crypto that you're just holding, is also a really great way of going about it. You're not in risk of being liquidated. Stop being such a damn degen out there and trying to get a bunch of money and gambling on your profits. You're just going to lose most of the time. And that is a fact. If everyone trades knows that is a fact.
Great. I definitely want to get into that. But first, you mentioned staking, and good shot with your call on the Art Punks staking. I think you were telling people to get in under Solana. Right now, 5 Solana, and it's earning people a couple bucks a day just to stake. So good job on that call. I just want to give you a shout out on that. But yeah, you said, no more gambling, no more crazy degen. Now, Justin, we just had millions of dollars get liquidated. What advice would you give a trader to kind of avoid that happening to them?
Yeah, I think I come from the more traditional Wall Street side of things. I don't think I've sold Bitcoin since, I think I'm more of a hodler since I bought my first one at 300. And I think, yeah, I have to agree with Rice, right? It's a flight to safety. You're seeing it both in the crypto markets, and you're seeing it both also in the equities markets. So the things selling off hardest right now in the equities markets are very high growth names with very little profits. So you think like Palantir or Shopify, etc. So you kind of think about what crypto is. A lot of folks on Wall Street think of crypto as liquid VC. And so when you think about liquid VC, that's going to be at the highest end of the risk curve. So when people are afraid of potential conflict war, whether that's warranted or not, people flight to bonds. That's not us. That's probably not anybody on the show, and that's not me. But just know that that's what people are doing. And people are, I think, to answer your question, to not get liquidated, just try not to get tempted to go on margin DCAing, right? Like the whole thing is DCA on the way down, but then when you run out of money, people get tempted to DCA with money they don't own, right? And then, I saw, right, people DCAing from the last cycle was like 18,000, 20,000, all the way down to 10,000. Oh, this is the lowest we're going to get. But then what happens when Bitcoin, we go into another crypto winter where it's like 3,500? That's how you get liquidated, right? That's how you get margin called. Is you can't call the bottom and unless you're a time traveler. So I wouldn't try to. do that with leverage.
Yeah, I don't like to try to call the bottom. I just like to look at them. Now, Nicu, you know, you are in Ukraine right now. We have a lot of things going on, you know, surrounding you. I think we all kind of agree geopolitical events do have an effect on overall markets, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, you know, possibly even real estate. So is there any kind of insight you could share on, like, you know, I know you don't know, you know, what the troops doing right now. I'm not asking you to, you know, try to give your prediction on that, but what's the sentiment where you're at?
Well, I can tell you, I can tell you one thing: the Ukrainian troops, they're not doing a lot. That's a certainty. But beyond that, I think neither are the Russian troops, except that they're doing currently the military exercises. I don't really think that they're doing a lot either when it comes to entering Ukraine. Now, the thing is, what many people forget is that this has been going on for many, I mean, for 8 years already. Now, I came here to Ukraine by coincidence, and you know, I like it here. It's very peaceful. It's great, and you sincerely, when you are here in everyday life, I've said this, you know, before. I've never actually seen a country where the citizens, where the Ukrainians, where the people are so unnationalistic as they are in Ukraine. And what do I mean by unnationalistic? I mean that it's almost like the Ukrainians, they hate Ukraine almost. It's like everyone who is, you know, smart or has something to offer, they take off. And so there's not a lot of commitment in itself. So it is so divided between the little man, like you and me, I mean, and politics, right? And geopolitics, obviously. So the average individual here, where, by the way, the average income in Ukraine is around, I don't know, $300 or something per month. So you got to understand that they don't really even have the time to consider what's going on a geopolitical scale. So life here is normal, but, and that's even where I got scared, is to what extent that the global media has, you know, taken Ukraine over, because as we know, Ukraine is United States ally number one. I do just want to also talk a little bit about the pricing, because I can see all my three fine fellows here today. They take a little more time. So I also want to just add a little bit to what I'm thinking. The fact is that we are seeing a monetary system that has been printing. We all know that the inflation numbers, they are, you know, even what the government are telling us, they are not correct, right? Probably higher. We got geopolitical tensions. We have a stock market, by the way, that is, you know, still flirting with its all-time high. However, we are seeing crypto far below its current all-time highs. Now, are we going to see that black swan event? Let it be Ukraine, let it be whatever. But if the traditional markets are going to fall, so is the crypto market. There's not going to be a uncorrelated movement. And that's why I believe in the 30 and the 20.
Okay, well, we'll get into uncorrelated markets shortly, but first, it is lightning round time. Don't worry that it's not you know, something falling from the sky there where you're at there, Nicu. So we're gonna ask crypto on Mars. All right, I like that. We are gonna get into that, but what's the coming week looking like? Bearish or bullish? I know I'm voting bullish, and I'm just basing that off of how bloody the last 48, 72 hours were. DZ's going. I'm always bullish, but DZ's going bullish here. Stache, I'm going to start with you. Bearish or bullish next week? What do you think?
I'm going bullish, baby. I think
we're
going to go jump back up, right back down.
I think so, too. Continue. I agree with all of that, unfortunately. Justin, bearish or bullish for this next week? What do you think?
I'm going bullish as well. I think it's more likely that we have a resolution in the Russian affairs, the Russian-Ukraine issue, than we go to actual heated conflict. So,
all right, love it. Nicu, bearish or bullish for the next week?
I just want to say the last time I was on and we were asking about Terra Luna and Avalanche, and I was the only one who said Terra Luna. I was the only one who actually won. I never got credited from that. And today I'm going to go against these fine gentlemen. It's going to be bearish.
Let's see if he can continue the streak of non-consensus right, because that's really where you want to be non-consensus right. You don't want to agree with the crowd. Rice, bearish or bullish next week? What do you think?
I'm a Taurus, so I'm going to be bullish, but I'm also going to add in that I think that, you know, the the Biden executive order that we're going to be seeing. I think we're going to see some positive things coming out of that, especially with what's happening geopolitically with Bitcoin. So I look forward that conflict hopefully to be coming to an end, which will be putting a little bit of pressure off the market as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But all right, let's talk a little crypto on Wall Street. We just had a big rise. So Wall Street, they're jumping in, but now it's starting to cause concern with the regulators. They're starting to try to tie the narrative of the '08 financial crisis with housing to a current crisis involving crypto, dragging down the broader markets. Let's see. The FSB is the Financial Stability Board. And they're voicing that liquidity and volatility concerns are what is going to cause this cascading effect of downward action, saying crypto's too volatile, although, you saw what they did with the real estate market. So now, Justin, I'm going to bring it to you first. So banks that are too big to fail, we don't want to bail them out, obviously. If they're too big to fail, should you be allowed to speculate in crypto?
I think that they should be able to create products so that other investors can. Because of what happened in '08, we have a lot of new rules on Wall Street against prop trading desks. That's part of the rampant stuff that was happening at the banks, taking their own proprietary risk. That's since been offloaded mostly from the banks that are too big to fail themselves. So I think yeah, I think they should be able to make these products that allow the buy side, so the mutual funds, hedge funds, all these other funds buy in. So and you see Grayscale, all these like kind of pseudo Wall Streeters now coming in too. So I think yeah, they should totally be allowed.
Okay, now Stache, Justin's saying all these funds coming in, pseudo kind of Wall Street people, mutual funds, investment funds. Are these funds and these financial institutions coming into crypto? Is that a net gain or a net negative?
Well, I wish it was as simple and a black and white issue as net gain or net negative. I would say it's probably more of a double-edged sword, and it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
In general, overall, my opinion is that it's a negative. I think that these are institutions that are driven by profits, driven by more profits every year. Not just profit, but but always doing more, right? It's always number go up. If the number didn't go up from the last year, then it's bad. If it stayed the same, that's bad too. So that's kind of a part of the problem we have here is just overall how capitalism essentially works. When these big institutions get in there, their main goal is to drive profits. And if they're not doing that, then they're not doing their job, and then someone else will get in there to do it. And that's why we end up with companies coming up with shady business practices and just kind of throwing morals out the window, because they'll always be able to find somebody else that could do it or come up with a new way to make profits on this. And so I do think it's kind of a double-edged sword, but in general, I would say it's mostly a negative. My main goal has always been to get the average person, you guys, not institutions involved, but retail people, to understand the power of a decentralized currency and what it can really give. And I think it's sad that we see more and more institutions coming in, people, applauding it. Yay, more institutions, that's great. It's not necessarily. It's going to happen, but we want more people to get involved first and, get it on the ground floor before we have institutions come in and wreck the whole damn thing and get their claws in the system and start screwing everything up, because we can't, as a populace, we're not, educated enough to be able to say, no, this is how it should be. No, we don't want regulation like that. It should be like this, because otherwise it's going to benefit these massive institutions and not the average person.
Yeah, when you think of a regulator's claws getting into it, I think of like Mr. Burn hand, like long skinny fingers, like curved yellow, like fingernails, like, give me your horde here. Now, Rice, we had talked about a decoupling of the markets. As these funds move in, it might be harder to do that. We kind of see a correlation between real estate and the stock market, but we don't really see a correlation between gold and other equities. So is it possible for crypto to decouple, or has the marriage already begun?
I would say it's definitely possible for us to decouple, but currently there is a lot of correlation. You really can't get away from that or even deny that. Now, what's interesting is comparing what we're talking about with crypto and the volatility, comparing it to 2008, when exactly the reason why Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin was outside of the turmoil of 2008. That's why we've seen the white paper come out on Halloween. October 31st, 2008, and the Genesis block mined on January the 3rd, 2009. Also, what's interesting about this article is this Financial Stability Board, the FSB, is made up of members of the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, and the World Bank. So, of course, I mean, they're threatened. So they're going to be trying to put out a lot of FUD and negativity when it comes to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. It was Reggie Middleton who came up with the idea in 2000 and maybe 2012, maybe a little earlier, about peer-to-peer markets, and that's what Veritasium was ultimately supposed to be. And when you think about the idea of taking out the middleman, which is what cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is all about, getting rid of that third party, that intermediary. When you can do that on a Wall Street level and get rid of those stockbrokers and do this peer-to-peer, and then you can also have it to where it's an honest system where you're not having fractionalized stocks and all this kind of finagling and manipulation going on. It's also really interesting when you're seeing JP Morgan, Fidelity, Bank of America, Backed, all these institutions offering products. So I definitely agree with what Justin said. I mean, these products are definitely you're going to have retail investors who are going to want these type of products, who don't want the exposure to cryptocurrencies, where I disagree with that. But people definitely have freedom of choice, and I got to respect other people's choices. So, but the financial institutions realize, and that's why you see like Visa, MasterCard investing in the Lightning Network. That's why if you look at the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, you look at who's involved with Digital Currency Group, it's all Finance 1.0 getting involved, trying to remain relevant and be able to maintain bringing in some profits and maintaining some sort of control, all of which they're losing.
Okay. Now, Nicu, you're the one who brought this up. I'm going to kind of ask you the same thing here. Can a decoupling be possible? We know it's, right now it is not decoupled, but, you look at gold, there's, you could definitely argue there's a decoupling there. And you even made an argument for your own stock market. Right now it's flirting with all-time highs, where Bitcoin is flirting with, being half the price of the all-time high. So is it possible for it to be coupled? And if so, what would that timeline look like?
No, I think it's important that we differentiate between Bitcoin and altcoins. I think in this example, because I think that Bitcoin does have the narrative that it could be seen as a digital gold. So there, and hopefully that will be amazing if once the monetary system is going to witness a financial global depression, that we would then actually see a higher correlation between Bitcoin and gold, and actually Bitcoin taking off. Now, if the overall stock market would, crash, so would I expect the altcoins. As of now, I would also expect Bitcoin, but that would really be the moment that, let's say of truth, or what we're all hoping for, right? Where Bitcoin would have the ability to show what it really is supposed to be. We need to see Bitcoin decoupling. Now, are we actually going to see that in this cycle? You see, I believe that everything is manipulated, right? So I don't think it's the little man who is going to take that decision. So I guess there are higher powers behind it, and I do believe we are really going to see a crash soon. What Bitcoin is going to do compared to the overall market, let's see. But as I said, Bitcoin should and could be, compared to gold, the altcoin compared to NASDAQ, let's say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is a world we would like to live in, because I don't want to, altcoins are already living and dying by Bitcoin. And, now you got Bitcoin living and dying by the stock market. So, yeah, let's get these things decoupled for sure. All right. Let's talk a little death row. I pulled up a little Snoop Dogg picture here, just in case you've been living under a rock and, you don't know who this guy is. But hip hop icon, the DOGG himself, he bought like Death Row Records in a first-of-a-kind NFT record deal. He wants to turn Death Row into basically an NFT music company. He's partnering with Gala Games in the metaverse. So, and Snoop's quote was, "It will be a whole nother chain of music." He didn't say another. He said it's a whole nother chain of music here. Now, Stache, you're our Gala guy here. If Wendy was on, I'd have both y'all, maybe do a little head-to-head here. But you're our Gala representative. Why do you think Snoop chose Gala over, these other protocols?
First off, man, I've been bullish on Gala for a long time. I didn't just jump on the hype train here in the last couple of months like some people out there. But I was telling people to buy Gala nodes the beginning of last year.
Don't talk about New Money Gang like that.
It may not just be one person, may not just be one outfit. Anyways, but yeah, when it comes to what they have going on, this is what I actually think is going to happen here. So Snoop is smart with the way he's been distributing his NFT drops amongst different platforms, right? So first he did a crypto.com drop, which I wasn't super impressed by. And I was like, this is not like, and then he's moved on. Then he's been working with the Sandbox, and then his latest thing here is with Gala. Now they did do with this Gala music drop, and I feel it was very unapproachable for most people. I did FOMO into one, I will say, man. And right after I hit the button, I was like, what the hell did I just do?
They were expensive. I was talking speaking of New Money Gang, me and Brian Emery were talking about what was that price stat. I know it started at 4 ETH, I think.
It was like, no. It was about $5,000. So it was, I think it was 1.2 Ethereum or something. Yeah, so it was pretty expensive. I FOMO'd into it. Don't do like what Stache does. Don't listen to Papa Stache here, and do not FOMO. Sometimes it's hard not to. But, what I think is actually going to happen here is with his purchase of Death Row Records like this, I think he's going to go totally off and do his own thing. I don't think he's going to be beholden to Gala or any of these other companies he's worked with. I think he eyes that prize, and he's going to build his own, empire based off of Death Row Records. And he's not going to rely on just one company like Gala to be able to supply that or to be his go-to source. I think he's done Death Row because he wants to kind of keep it all underneath his own, brand. So
I think
that's what I'm predicting. But
I think it's a great brand.
Yeah.
He definitely has his eyes on the prize. If he can manage to pry them open, we have a picture here. He's, quite happy about his purchase. You could tell, but I do think Death Row, that's a slam dunk brand IP. I think I love it. Suge Knight. I'm just scared of Suge Knight. I don't want his goons to come after me now. But Rice, is NFTs and the music, is that a compatible, is that going to be a successful model? It just seems a little easy to just steal the audio, and then next thing you know, someone throws it on YouTube and you just kind of listen on your phone. How far away are we from, an NFT music platform really being successful?
I mean, honestly, I don't really think we're that far away when we look at platforms like Audius. Now, I know they're not an NFT platform, but they're built on Ethereum, and a lot of the NFTs are utilizing the Ethereum blockchain. So I could definitely see that becoming a possibility. What's really cool about this is the fact that you have an artist that was able to, through his career, now be able to kind of have the pinnacle of his career and purchase a label that he was signed to, which is already a big enough deal. And like you said, the label itself, the brand, is iconic. You can't really get away from that. I mean, the things that were built on Death Row, Tupac, Dr. Dre, the Chronic. I mean, it's endless. Now, when it comes to cryptocurrencies, when it comes to NFTs, especially with NFTs, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've been seeing has been related to art. When it comes to music, now, obviously, you're not going to be able to prevent like bootleggers from getting music out on YouTube and things like that, but owning a portion of the rights of the songs or things like that, I think could definitely come into play with the NFT stuff. But the creative destruction, when you have innovation that replaces outdated technologies, that's what's beautiful about this. And then seeing us kind of going beyond the art element when it comes to NFTs. I'm really looking forward to seeing like the ticket industry being replaced with NFTs. We're already starting to see this start to take place, but it's not become a uniform thing yet. But I would love to see the ticket industry, anything that's done with licenses, registrations, deeds, your contracts, anything like that can be put in an NFT form. So the possibilities of what NFTs can do are definitely unlimited. And I definitely think that this partnership with Gala, when it comes to Snoop, this is, to me, I'm thinking of a one-off possible collaboration to get this first album out, to kind of get a lot of headway, a lot of promotion on what's going on. And I definitely agree that Snoop's going to be building out his own platform when it comes to having this label, because he's very forward thinking. And when you look at some of his previous business models and some of the things he's gotten involved with, he's been very successful, and he definitely likes to take things by the handle.
Yeah, he definitely he blazes the trails for sure. Love the chat. I love all you aliens in there. Some people jumped in. We love it. If you like Snoop Dogg and you think, would you have a beer or something else with him, go ahead, hit that like button. I'm sure he's a cool guy to hang out with. I meant like a soda pop if you don't happen to.
No, you didn't.
No.
No, you didn't.
No,
Well,
I
it's
didn't.
420
Okay, I
somewhere in
did it.
this
I
world.
did it. I did it. All right. Now, Justin, I kind of want to ask you this here. With NFTs and music, a lot of people are saying, you know, oh, this is gonna, you know, benefit the artists. This is all for the artists. But then, you know, maybe it's actually going to benefit the audiences or the next Spotify equivalent. Who do you think is going to benefit the most from this? Is it going to be the platform similar to like an OpenSea, or is it going to be the artists, finally monetizing their art?
Yeah, I think that that's interesting. I think it'll be the artists, because when you think about kind of the innovations, right? Rice was saying the tickets, like that's a huge thing, and it'll just reduce costs for live performances or virtual performances, which are generally actually in today's world the most profitable things for artists, right? They make 1 cent per every like whatever, like $2,000 per million plays, right? It's horrible on the streaming platforms. I don't think streaming platforms are going anywhere, unfortunately. But I do think that it'll allow a whole nother like monetization outlet for the artist, right? Because they'll be able to embed NFT things everywhere, and also maybe even fractionally sell ownership of the royalty streams. And I think that's what I'm really excited about. And can you imagine not only having NFTs, fractional ownership of a NFT of a song, but also having it being on the smart contract that you get paid out in paid out the royalties via smart contract, right? Via native token or something. Like I think that's what I'm really excited about. I think it's going to empower artists and also empower. I think actually the people that benefit the most are the fans, because think about what we do now. We just listen. Like it's going to open up every little possibility of ownership of music or the experience or backstage passes or virtual passes or Zoom calls with your favorite artist.
Yeah, it's utility. I'm glad you said it. I think the artists that will win this battle are the ones that add utility to it, whether it's you buy my music NFT and guess what? You get to show up at the New York concert or the Las Vegas concert, or only NFT holders get a backstage pass. You know, mastering the utility will be the key for sure. But last question here. We're going to send it to Nicu. First off, Nicu, are you familiar with Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, I know Snoop.
I know. Oh, you know him. Yeah, wait a minute. Your eyes look a little. No, wait a minute. Okay, I'm just kidding here. Now, what do you think of his current endeavor? Is this a smart move, or is he just being a little too nostalgic with the Death Row label?
I actually think that I would put Snoop Dogg in the same category as Elon Musk. I'll put him in the same category as.
Hot take.
Pardon me. Yeah, no.
Not bait.
Yeah, what I'm saying. Yeah. What I'm saying is, I think that they, I don't know, it's also, and I would put them in the same category like Bahamas and Bermuda. Why am I saying that? I think that these are countries and individuals that have kind of been informed that they should take the first step to go in and make a statement. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Snoop Dogg, I do understand that he's an intelligent businessman, and Bermuda, for that matter, who were the first to enter the metaverse with, and I think, an embassy and bought something there. So I understand. Or was it Jamaica? Jamaica and Snoop, that would even go better together.
Yeah.
So I think that obviously I think it's smart, because whatever he's gonna do, he is an artist that is very well known, and he's taking a stand in a new, you could say, evolution on industry, and he's being the first. So there will be many to follow, just like there will be many to follow Bermuda, that opened the first embassy in the metaverse. However, from my point of view, I think that the real gain of, if we talk the metaverse, or I think we should differentiate between the metaverse and the NFTs, because the metaverse is probably a place where artists and gamers, they're going to have lots of fun, right? And it's also really lovely to live next to Snoop Dogg in the metaverse, but I would prefer to meet him in real life. But that's just me. When we then move on to the NFTs, I think that NFTs are obviously, I think that their really big advantage, or let's say breakthrough, will come when it comes to real world assets, actually getting real world assets onto the blockchain. And I think as of now, it's more like an introduction that we are taking. I don't know,
No,
gaming,
we've had houses sold. We've had a house
big.
sold in Florida. A house was sold in Florida, and there's an NFT deed. So
Exactly. That's really
taking place. It's you know, so I'm saying it's we're already in the process. The other thing with Snoop that I didn't even mention that also needs a lot of like shout out is the younger generation, because I don't think if it wasn't for Snoop's kids, he wouldn't be as on top of this NFT and crypto space.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? I don't know who runs it. I love Snoop, but I'm fairly certain Cosimo D'Amici Twitter account is not Snoop. I think it's his son, but I agree. But that is all we got time for today. It looks like Nicu won it. You know, he's under fire right now. They're shutting down, you know, his internet, they say. Apparently, our media is telling us that, you know, your whole internet infrastructure is, you know, being attacked and everything. So it's great seeing you, you know, high frames per second. So maybe those were all lies. I don't know. But go ahead, Nico, leave us with some parting thoughts.
I will. I hope you will invite me for next Friday, because we did have a talk about, you know, where the market is going. Finally, I want to say I am the best YouTube channel that has ever been. Now, my mama said, she said, don't go out and fancy yourself. But there's nothing wrong by stating the facts. I let you know when I buy, and I let you know when I sell. In 2021, I mastered the market better than anyone, analyst or content provider I know of. There is no one that's better than I am. I thank you for being on this show today. I really enjoyed it.
Crypto never sleeps. Number one or no one?
I'm number one.
It's game.
He's number one. He's number one. Hey, we're gonna have to get you and Richard Hart on the same episode. Y'all could fight for who's been the best trader over the past year. But don't forget, Frankie Candles is going to be live. But that is all we got time for. Maybe catch you in the Candlestick or the Frankenstein chat, whatever they're calling themselves now. But until Monday, later on, BitSquad. DZ out.
Frankie Candles.